what I said to the federal government is that I have asked Oakland to accept a higher challenge in the context of this recovery effort. The easy challenge is to take one-time money and create a one-time and solve a one-time problem or focus on a one-time approach. That's the easy way. My challenge to the city of Oakland is, and what I said to the federal government is that we are prepared in Oakland to accept the challenge of how we use one-time money coordinated with ongoing and existing resources at the federal, state, and local level to develop community-oriented problem solving in the immediate, but the objective is for long-term sustainable approaches. Because at some point, the stimulus money is going to run out, and the cities are still going to be there, and the problems are going to be there. So the challenge is, how do you take this moment with a lot of resources on the table and coordinate them in a fashion to create long-term strategies? So what I said to them was, we're prepared to connect the dots from one program to another program so that it makes sense, and I'll give you an example of that. And we're also saying we're laying out the mosaic of a puzzle, and where there are holes in stimulus grant opportunities or existing programs, we need someone at the federal level to help us identify other resources outside stimulus to plug up these holes in the puzzle so that at the end of the day, we have a total picture. Let me give you a quick example of connecting the dots. We asked for a grant to expand our outreach program that's reaching out to young people on the streets of Oakland. In the quiver of the outreach workers will be that we also applied for a grant, Cypress Mandela Village, and I think I can say without any reservation that they're going to receive that grant from the federal government. So one quiver in the outreach workers talking with the young people is, here is a training opportunity for you to train for long-term employment. But then not only are you being trained, but this will lead to a job because we've asked for brownfield grants, weatherization grants that would provide job opportunities for people training to handle toxic waste, to clean up brownfields, and to weatherize homes. Once the brownfields are cleaned up, we're asking for federal funds for housing projects, transit villages, and green industry. And finally, on the other side of it, we've asked for a grant for a loan guarantee grant that would allow us to sustain the effort of employment opportunities. So we go all the way from public safety with outreach workers all the way to sustainability, and we connect the dots. So that was my message to the federal government. We're prepared to think methodically. We're prepared to think coordinated, collaborative. We're prepared to connect the dots so that there's a sustainable picture, and that on the other side of this, President Obama administration, federal government, Oakland will give you strategies going forward. One last example in that regard, as many of you are aware, the first Green Jobs Corps program was set up in Oakland, and we created it as a model. It was so successful that Van Jones, who was one of our partners in establishing the Green Jobs Corps program, was taken by the Obama administration and taken to Washington to expand this idea. So here's Oakland operating as a model city, creating a model a program that has now become an integral part of the stimulus recovery effort. It has now become part of national lexicon and part of our national policy. So that's the point. We've got a budget problem. Yes, we must deal with it, and I think we will deal with it with a balanced budget. There will be pain, there will be difficulty. But on the other side, we have this enormous challenge, but we have this enormous opportunity. Never in the history of America has $400+ billion been designated to be placed on the streets of America within 4 months. If any of you are students of history, you know it's never been done and probably will never be done again. So Oakland we need to step up to this moment, realizing that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create long-term strategies. That's going to require all of us to come together as a team, and we all have to play our roles. Part of my responsibility, I know Washington, and I've viewed the world at 47,000 feet as Washington policymakers do, but I'm now on the ground having to deal with the reality of running a city on the ground. And so my message to the federal government is, you have to bring the recovery program to the ground. We'd like to show you a strategy of how you actually bring this to the ground so that it has impact upon people's lives. Therein lies this great opportunity. So those were the points that I wanted to make with you, that we see our budget responsibilities, we've stepped up to it. We see public safety as our major due north approach, and we're trying desperately not to compromise that. We've been working extremely hard with the Justice Department and others to try to see if we could find not only stimulus resources, but resources outside the stimulus program, outside the recovery program, to help us figure out how to save this magic number of 739 so that we can continue to go forward with our 63 police problem-solving officers and continue to move more methodically toward community policing. And again, as I said, I think the final point is, how do we use the stimulus effort to enhance our economic development strategies and problem-solving strategies going forward? We are shovel-ready. We are shovel-ready not only because we have physical projects that are ready to go forward, we also have human services efforts that are ready to go, because many of you are aware that we put together a group of 41 task force. People came up with tremendous ideas and recommendations. We do not lack for ideas. We do not lack for recommendations on how we move forward. What we have lacked is a partner in the federal government. We now have a brilliant person in the White House who understands the need to partner with the federal government. And he also, at this particular moment, has deep pockets. And therein lies the potential for Oakland to exploit this moment intelligently and strategically. So those are my remarks, and I'm open for any questions you might have. Yes, sir.
I understand you'll be meeting with the City Council this afternoon before their meeting at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Can you give me a sense of whether you feel their budget plan at this time right now is viable? Is as viable as the initial plan that you had introduced?
Yeah, actually, I don't have any real issues. You know, how we handle this staffing thing, that's something that I think we can work out. As I said, I'm not here to pick a fight. This is the last moment that Oakland needs to demonstrate anything other than that we are unified and that we are strategic and that we have thoughtfully come together. So hopefully we can work that aspect of it out, you know, 20% as opposed to 5 people. As you know, I've never recommended cuts in the City Council's budget, because I respected the fact that they are a co-equal, separate, independent branch of government, and who am I to determine their staffing needs? If they're prepared to say, you know, look, you know, 20% cut, and they accepted 20% cuts, that's equal, that's fair, that makes sense to me, and then we move forward. Just another couple of quick points. They did make an adjustment in the library part of the budget, and as you recall, when I introduced the budget, and the only reason why we had this sort of rotating effort with the libraries is that we asked each department to come to the table equally, you know, and put their thoughts about cuts equally. That's how this issue came forward. So if the City Council wanted to adjust that, I have no problem with it. I think at the end of the day, in a community that's worthy of us, our libraries are open and meet the needs of all of our people. So that's not an issue.